Hello everyone, it's Danielle. Welcome back to my floss tube. It's been quite a while since I filmed a video. Life has been really busy, and if I'm honest, I've struggled to find the time, energy and the confidence to just sit down and film a floss tube. I've kept thinking I needed to wait until I've stitched more, had more progress to show on different projects, or had the perfect video plans, but I've realised that that's probably what's been keeping me from filming a floss tube, putting it off. So I just thought today I'd just sit down, have a chat as if you're right next to me in the room, show you what I've been working on, and just ease myself back into filming floss tubes again. If you're a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you ever so much for sticking around and waiting for this video. If you're new, welcome, and I hope you enjoy what I've got to show you today. I'm not going to include any stitching stats like percentages or the amount of stitches I've done. I'm just going to show you my projects. They're not going to be in any particular order. I do have a few finishes, only small ones, which, surprise, surprise, I forgot to grab. So give me 2 seconds and I'll go and grab those. Right, we'll try again because for some reason I pressed stop. So you think you've grabbed everything, and you realise just as you start pressing film that you don't actually have everything. So I've gone and grabbed the ones I've finished. 2 of them are from temperature stitching. So temperature stitching is where you choose the highest of the day. I don't know who created the game, but you choose the highest of the day. You take the last digit of that temperature and whatever piece you've allocated to that number, you stitch on that number. So the ones I've finished are WIPs. They were in my WIP pile, just had a few things I needed to do. So what I'll do is, I know I've got pictures of these, so I'll stick a picture up somewhere, and you can see where I was before I'd finished it. And then this is what it looks like now. So this was a SAL run by Lakeside Needlecraft. It was designed by Doreen Jones and it was called the Tea and Cake SAL. So that's mine. Don't know what I'm going to do with it. This one was a kit from Aldi's. I think I just had the wording and the cloud to stitch. I liked it, and there's a thumper one as well, but I haven't done that. So again, this one I'll put a picture of where it was when I picked it up again, and as you can see, it's now complete. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. Yeah, but I quite like it. And then my third finish, I stitched this. It's a Winnie the Pooh kit. This wasn't actually a UFO. It was part of my Winnie the Pooh Wednesday stitching, which I do with Kayla from Stitching with My Littley. So every Wednesday, if you're able to, pick up a Winnie the Pooh piece and just put some stitches into it. Or I do Winnie the Pooh weekends now because I'm not always able to do it on a Wednesday. So Kayla ever so kindly gave me this kit. It's the first kit I ever stitched when I started stitching back in 2003. I stitched it and gifted it to someone. I can't remember who it was now, but I've been looking for it ever since. And Kayla said she had 2 in her stitchy stuff, and she said I could have one. So I'd just like to say to Kayla, thank you ever so much for gifting me this. I was going to turn it into a birth sampler because there's two people I know who are expecting a baby, but I thought, no, in actual fact, I think I'm going to keep this. I know I could stitch it again, but I found something different that I'm stitching for them, which you'll see in a bit. So those are my 3 finishes. Not bad since the last time I filmed, which was, I think it was February. So where am I going to put these? Put them there. So these are in no particular order. They've either come up because of WIP Go or they've come up because of temperature stitching. And I'll just show you what I've got. I might have pictures of them, I might not. If I do, I'll put them up on the screen. If I don't, then I'm afraid I don't. So this first one is Quick Stitch Butterfly, artwork by Nadia Tate, charting by Michelle from Heaven and Earth Designs. That's what it will look like when it's finished. And these have got waist threads, or this has got waist threads hanging, so I do apologise for that. Nothing I can do until I've stitched them in. I just got fed up of turning it over and stitching it in through the back. And that's how far I am at the moment. So I'm omitting the background other than the butterflies, because obviously, as you can see, I'm stitching it on a lilac fabric. Not sure what the fabric is, and as far as I'm aware, it's, oh, I don't even know what thread it is. Stitch count it is. I think it might be something like 16 count. I know it's Ada. I started this on 13th of Feb for my 40th birthday back in 2022, and it's still not finished, but there we go. I'm going to try and put them in as I go along, so that I don't have a huge mess on the floor, because I do have quite a few to show you. If you can hear the background, I've got the TV going on with Wild Earth African live cameras. Okay, I'm going to leave that one for a minute. That one. Right, this one is Heaven and Earth Designed QS Star Dragon, artwork by Lisa Victoria. That's what it will look like. Ooh, it would help if I put it on the screen, wouldn't it? That's what it will look like when it's finished. This I'm stitching on Ada, I think it's 16 count, and I'm omitting the background. It's part of my WIP go, so every time it gets cold, I've got to do my best to put 1,000 stitches in, and that's what it's looking like. Cute little thing. I think he's been called once so far this year. Well, he's been called twice, but I haven't managed to catch up with it, so it's still going. So that's what he looks like. And then next is, whoa, it's all falling down. Great big pile here. Not all the zips are unzipped, I'm afraid. I just grabbed them and just thought I'd show them. So I don't think I've actually, no, I don't have a cover photo for this, so I'll put it up here somewhere. It's called Blue Monarch but Sunflower. It's stitched on 16 count cream Ada, and there is where I am. So this is WIP go, as well as temperature stitching for the temperatures ending in 0, and I'm doing 1,000 stitches for WIP go and 100 stitches for temperature stitching. But I've dropped off the bandwagon for temperature stitching lately because life's been so busy. I will try and get back onto it, but I'm just picking the colour with the most stitches and just trying to run with them for the moment. So that's that one. I'm not going to take them out of the frames because I will do that when I do my end of year WIP parade, if I ever get around to that. Next one. Now this one has been a love-hate relationship. It's Mini Sunflower Cottage. Sorry, I don't know the details for the Blue Monarch off the top of my head. I know the charter is Artisy, but I'm not sure who the artwork is by. So this is Mini Sunflower Cottage. Donna Gelsinger has done the artwork, and it's from Haid. I did originally start the normal one before I realized there was a mini, so I restarted it as part of the Sunflower Cottage sale. It's stitched on 16 count white Ada. It was easy guides, but I washed it because the grids weren't, I wasn't happy with the lines for the grids. and that's where I am now. However, this fabric is really soft and floppy. I do tend to like soft fabrics. Well, I'm not really fussed on my fabrics, but this one is really soft. And I was finding it hard to get stitching, but now I've got this in a nice Q-snap, which I can tighten and loosen, and I seem to be getting on really well with it. I was going to colour complete from the least symbol to the most. However, oh, I lost my trail of thought. However, I'd have to keep moving the Q-snap down the bottom because the least stitches are just dotted here, there and everywhere, onesies, twosies, things like that. So I just thought, oh, sod it, I'm going to stitch the biggest amount from the top down and just see how it goes. No stitching style as such, just grab what takes my fancy. If I want a bright colourful colour, I stitch a bright colourful colour, otherwise I'll just pick a symbol and stitch. What's this one? I don't think I haven't actually stitched on that, so I'm not going to show you that. It's just there for my, because I finished the 2 temperature stitches, I've added new ones in, but because I've fallen off the bandwagon, I haven't actually stitched on any of them, which is fine. Stitch what you want when you want at the moment. So this one is called Endgame. It's from Etsy. I will put a picture in of what it will look like and where I was, and this is where I am now. I bought the new Nurge snap frames, whatever they call them, and to be honest, I don't find them any different to the other Nurge, the other Q snaps. The only difference is you've got the colourful size which you can choose. The sizing might be a bit different, but I'm not sure what size this is. I was going to do a review, but things happened and I didn't. Anyhow, that's Endgame. This is for temperature stitching. I can't remember what the temperature is, but I've got it written down somewhere else. It's quite nice, simple stitching because it's all black at the moment with a bit of colours put in here, there and everywhere. It's more block stitching than anything, which is nice and simple. This is on tea dyed Ada, dyed by myself. What's this one? This one is the Love Sal. Doreen Jones hosted it on her Facebook page. I've stitched it on a hand dyed blue Ada 16 count, dyed by myself, and that's where I'm at the moment. This one isn't calling to me at the moment. It is part of the temperature stitching, but I'm just not being drawn to it. And this is in a lovely little case by Canny Little Fox. So to be honest, it's my fault, I should have read it, but I thought it was more A4 size, but it's just bigger than A5. So a little Winnie the Pooh. Those who know Canny Fox will know what's in it. So yeah, I'm not going to show you all that's in it now, but that's that. So I tend to try and take this in the car with me because it's so small. It doesn't always work though. No, that's a new replacement as well, so I haven't stitched on that, so I'm not showing you that. It's amazing what you find when you go through bags, isn't it? My mum went to Primark and she found this Winnie the Pooh bag, so she got it for me. So this is my stitching bag for my temperature stitching. Next, two projects in one because they're both Carolyn Manning designs. So first one is Feather of Jellyfish. That's what it will look like. I'm doing this main big one when it's finished. That's what it will look like. And I can get it out, and that's where it's at. So I'm all over the other side now. Just got to work it down. So this is nice, easy, mindless stitching. You just grab a colour and you go. So I think this is my, yep, this is also part of a temperature cell for temperatures ending in 4. It's quite an enjoyable stitch, that one. Before you know it, you've done almost like 1,000 stitches instead of 100 because you just keep running with it. The next one is Shooting Star, also by Carolyn Manning. I love bright, bold, colourful designs. So that's that one. This one, right, so Feather of Jellyfish is stitched on 16 count, if I didn't already say, white Ada. This I tried differently, and this one I'm stitching on 20 count white Ada, 1/1 this one. I think that's the right way up because I do tend to have the magnets from the top down. And that's what it's looking like. So this is for temperatures ending in 3, and again 100 stitches each. I was trying to colour complete from the middle out, but I have got to the point now where there are some colours that are further out in the piece. So I'm just picking what takes my fancy, and I'm stitching that. No rhyme or reason to the stitching. I just stitch where I want to go, how I want to stitch. So that's that one. I do have a piece that I've misplaced. Let me go see if I can find it. 2 seconds. So I had it misplaced. I just didn't grab it from the Kallax unit. So this is called Let It Snow by Little Quaint Designs, charted by Stitches So Beautiful. That's what it's looking like. I stitched this as part of their sale a couple of months ago, where you had to stitch 250 stitches a week, take a progress picture and send it off to them. So over the course of 1 month I did stitch over 1,000 stitches because of that sale. And I might use it as any other sales, I don't know yet, but I'm also doing it as a temperature stitch. But this is just so full of white, and it's white on white. I do like stitching white on white, believe it or not. However, it might not show up on the camera. So there it is. So you might see a colour difference here. I actually picked up the wrong colour here, so I need to change that. I need to unpick it and change that. There, that's what it looks like. And then my last, well, my second but last, because this is a massive piece. If you've been here for a while, you'll know that I have been stitching on Animal Panorama. Of course, I'll put the picture in here because I don't actually have it to hand. And I'd like to get this finished sooner rather than later, but sorry, there we go. But yeah, just but life, I don't get time to sit down and stitch all day. Here is what it's looking like. So the parrot has come in. Isn't he stunning? Boy, girl, I don't know, but wow. So now I'm just doing all the background stitching, which is just a challenge because it's literally onesies and twosies and there's no block stitching. So when I pick this up, I've got to be in the right mindset. And as you can see, the zebra's coming in here. So I'll stitch down to there. I've managed to finish, this is, up here is 1 page, and I think here is almost the other side of another page. There's like 2 columns, I think, to have another page complete, but I like stitching in this size frame. Don't ask me what size it is, but yeah. So this, really cool. So I'm taking, with this one, I'm taking this most top empty stitch. So I think it'll be the zebra's ear here, and I'll choose that colour and I'll run it through either until I finished it or until the thread has run out. And then I'm working my way down. I was colour completing per page, but it started making it hard. Even though I'm using Pattern Keeper, it started making it hard looking for the symbols on here. So I don't know if I'll go move further down and stitch down, or if I will, so I might, sorry, I'm talking to you and I'm not showing you. Don't know if I'll move down and stitch down here, so bring this down and stitch down, or if I'll move across that way, dope, and stitch across. I don't know yet. I'll check the pattern, see what's interesting. But I know this one has received the most progress on it. Well, I think it has, because of the when I filmed last and the stitch and the picture now, it seems to have. And then I have to take this one out because you won't see it otherwise, because I moved it down last night. So this is my new Winnie the Pooh project, which is a couple of friends I used to work with when I used to work in the nursery. They're both expecting babies and they both love Winnie the Pooh, so I hope that they like a sampler. So there's the one. I'll stick in what it will look like. This is off Etsy, using DMC colours, because you can no longer get the designer stitches colours. However, I do have them. They're just up in a box on top of the cupboard, and there's so much crap on top of the cupboard in front of the box. So that's what it's looking like. So I haven't, as you can see, I haven't backstitched Winnie the Pooh yet. I backstitched the rest as I was going along. I'm not too sure about the teddy bear's eyes and the ears though. He just looks a bit weird to me. Hence the reason why I haven't done the eyes or the nose on the others, because I need to get in touch with the designer and say, are they beads, French knots, or are they just several stitches overlaid? Because it doesn't actually say on the chart. But yeah, that's that. And I managed to stitch Piglet up in 2 days. And they weren't long hours stitching, they were just maybe an hour, 2 hours here, 2 hours there. So yeah, I'm starting on the stars down below now. And that is all my stitching. So now what I'll show you is charts that I've either been gifted or I've won. I'm on a no buy this year, so I haven't bought any charts. No buy, no new starts. The only reason I started that new one is because it's for someone, for friends. It's not for me, so no new starts for me it is. Oh, I just remembered I did have a third finish, no, a fourth finish. It was the German Shepherds. So this is what it looked like when it was finished. I stitched it exactly as it was called for. However, I framed it in a square frame, rectangular frame, for my dad's birthday back in April. I will insert a picture, show you what his looked like, although not much different from that. So Flossabilities, and so Lauren from Flossabilities and her brother are doing these chalets, and I reached out to her and I said, oh, I'd absolutely love one in a safari. So growing up in South Africa, it would be lovely. So she, bless her, she designed one per my request, and she gifted it to me, and that's what it will look like. So thank you ever so much, Lauren. I had intended on starting to stitch this, but I couldn't find the fabric anywhere. I tried dyeing my own, but I wasn't happy with it, and I just haven't got back around to searching for the fabric. And I might just decide, because I'm a perfectionist, it's got to match it almost 100%. So I might just decide to show you guys what you think of the fabric I dyed and if it will work. So that's a gift from Lauren. Thank you ever so much, Lauren. Oh, here is rewind. Here is what the birth sampler will look like when it's finished. So I'm not actually going to include the baby's details because I don't know if they want the details on it. So I'm just going to do it like this and then put a little card in. Now, as you've seen, that one is stitched on a printed Ada, and I don't know whether to do the border black or whether to change it a different colour. Don't know what colour to change it to though. One's having a girl, one's having a boy. So the one that's on the lilac is having a girl. I got these off Etsy, not for me, however, I am stitching them. So it's haul but not haul, I class it, because they're not for me. I haven't started them yet. They might be a Christmas present. And another one downloaded as a gift for my daughter. Might do that as a Christmas present. We'll have to see how stitching time goes. Yeah. And this one I won from Kayla from Stitching with My Littly ages ago. That's how long I filmed. It's the complete kit. So I look forward to stitching that when I get the time. And then we were at the Loopy Lou's Pendoilan retreats a few weeks back. It could have been a couple of months back now. And I saw this Mirabilia. Now I remember Ellie Welly Stitcher stitching this and how much issue she had with her hair. And it's the first one I'd ever seen. I thought, well, that's quite pretty. But I wasn't going to buy it because that would mean it's stash enhancement for me. So lovely Helen from our IKEA stitching group is also on a no buy. So she bought it but gifted it to me. So we both managed to get around our little claws. So I can't wait to stitch that. However, it's a paper chart and I no longer use paper charts, but I will endeavour to do it. And then I won this one off of Rachel on a D-Stash site on Facebook. It's a Joan Elliott's Christmas Angel. Yeah. That's what it will look like when I get stitched. I have no plans of when I'm going to stitch these. They'll be stitched when they get stitched. And then one of the other girls from our IKEA stitching club, she doesn't watch FlossTube, but she came across this and she gifted it to me. I'm pretty sure I've already got this in my stash. So if I do, I might just do a giveaway. So yeah, Winnie the Pooh. Got a feeling that's pretty much it for Stitchy Kindness. Yeah, that's pretty much it for my Stitchy Kindness. So, my plans, well, there is no real definitive plans. It's just a case of stitch when I can, whatever calls to me. Hopefully get back into my temperature stitching. But the one birth sampler needs to be done for August, the other one done for September, so I'll get cracking with that. But like I said, it doesn't take too long. I think Eeyore and Tigger might take the longest because there's so much stitching and backstitch, but we'll see. So I would just like to say thank you ever so much for taking the time to click on my video and stop by and catch up with me. I do really appreciate it. If you want to, feel free to leave me a comment, like and subscribe, all that stuff, which I don't like saying. I do read all the messages and I do try and reply to them as and when I see that you've posted them up. I'm not going to say when I'm filming next because I never know when I'm going to have time. So I'll film when I get a chance. And just to say thank you ever so much again for stopping by. We'll speak to you soon. Take care. Bye for now.